Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I just want to do a quick video on troubleshooting your AC. Now, I did do a video episode 57 last year, and I wanted to cover things maybe I didn't cover in that video. And this is just if you try to turn on your AC, you press the button in the car, nothing happens. You're not getting cold air, you're getting warm air out of it. So we're going to go over just some quick tips for you here to show you how to troubleshoot that without having to take it to a mechanic right away. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure you have pressure in your system. Now, you are going to have some manifold gauges here, and you can see here on my vehicle I have a low pressure outlet right here, and that's where you fill up your refrigerant. It's going to be on the blue, the low pressure. Now, cars are going to have a high pressure switch. This is a high pressure switch right here, and you can see here's the signal and the compressor power, and there's our compressor. Now, you want to make sure that your clutch right here spins freely, and that spins freely, so that's good. Now, we want to make sure that the compressor is working, so when the car is running and you have the AC on, this should be turning right here. This turns separately from this. What this does is lock in the compressor and engages the compressor. So if you come out and this is not turning, but this is turning and you have the AC on, then it could be that you have an issue with your clutch here. Now, there is a way to test that, and I'll show you that very shortly, but first I want to go over these connections, the low pressure and the high pressure sensors, and those are very important. For instance, right here again we have the high pressure sensor, and you can find it on your vehicle just by following these silver lines, these aluminum lines here, and you can see what it looks like here. And there's a sensor here, and typically these can be changed. There's going to be a what's called a Schrader valve, and it's similar to the valve you have on your tires on your bike or your car. It just has a valve in it, and if you press it, it lets air out. This is the same concept, so you should be able to change these without losing any of your refrigerant. Now, your issue could be that you have low refrigerant or that you've overfilled it, and that's what exactly these sensors do. Is you have a low pressure and a high pressure sensor, and if the pressure is too high, it won't engage this clutch. At the same token, if the pressure is too low, it won't engage the clutch. And the reason for that is because the clutch has oil mixed in with the refrigerant, and if you run your vehicle with low refrigerant, it's not circulating that oil, you could fry your compressor. So it's a safety feature of your vehicle. So just because it's not working doesn't mean it's the compressor that's broken. So here is my Jeep Liberty. It's a 2005, but if you have a 3.7 liter engine, it's pretty much going to be the same, but you don't have to worry about if you don't have a Jeep. It's going to be the same concepts. You want to follow your lines and find out where the low pressure sensor is. And you can see here on mine, it's located on this canister here, right against the firewall. So if I release this clip, you can see I have this cable connector right here, and you have two openings there, so there's two connections. Now, what you can do is take a wire just like this, and you just stick it into those two holes, and that will bypass the sensor. If you think that there's an issue with the sensor, that would prove that. So if your compressor started running after you jump that, then you know it could be just a sensor issue. And that also can be removed without losing any of the fluid, refrigerant out of the system. Alright, so you can see here the manifold gauge, and that you can get this from Harbor Freight very cheap. You're probably not going to use it that much, so you don't want to spend that much on it. I think something like this might be 30, 40, 50 bucks. I bought it many years ago. You can see I have it hooked up to the low pressure side here. That's always the blue, and you can't mess up these connectors. There's a red and a blue side because one is larger than the other, so you can't mix that up. It's kind of dummy proof. So you can see here I have about 80 psi, and the temperature outside is close to that, so this is accurate. This is usually going to be commensurate with the temperature outside. So if it was 70 degrees out, this is going to read more towards 70. Now I've left this on here for a couple days just to see if that would go down. Now it is going to go down and go up depending on the temperature, but overall, if it's down to like 40 overnight, then you definitely know you have a leak. So you're going to have to find it, and the best way you can do that is you can take some soap and water in a spray bottle and just go around and spray. For instance, a big issue with cars is usually the valves will leak, much like in your tires, so you can spray a little in the valve, and if it is leaking, you'll see it starting to bubble in there. So then you know you're going to have to replace the Schrader valve. So let's move on to another tip here on how you can test the clutch to make sure the clutch is actually operational. Okay, so here's my fuse box in the engine. They call this the power distribution center. It's a fancy name for fuse box, and you can see I have some relays in here. And a lot of these relays are identical. You have to look at the numbers on them to make sure they match the other ones. A lot of times you can swap this with the wiper, but when you press that button in the car, it goes to the computer, and the computer says, well, is there a high pressure or low pressure occurrence going on here? And if it clears those and your pressure is fine, it'll send a signal to activate this relay, and then eventually it goes to this wire here, and it'll start turning this clutch here, and you'll hear it click and you'll see this turn. That means the compressor is working. So here we can remove this, and you can look at what it says on there. That's a relay. Now you can either switch it with another relay, or you can jump it directly to see if it's actually engaging. And what we're going to do is, you can see those two larger holes there, the two larger connections. We're going to go ahead and take that same wire I just showed you, and we're going to jump that, and we're going to see if the clutch engages or not. So that's going to be a good test of a couple things. It's going to tell us, number one, that this wire that we have running here doesn't have any issues. It's a solid connection, but it's also going to tell us that the clutch is good. So let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. Alright guys, I want you to watch the clutch, and I'm going to go ahead and press this wire in there. Alright, so you heard the clicking, so we know that this clutch is good. So that's not our issue. What we know our issue is low pressure. More than likely it's you don't have any refrigerant in there, or it's too low. So the sensor, the low pressure sensor, is saying, wait a minute, this is too low of a pressure. I can't start the compressor. I'm going to break it. I'm going to ruin it. So it shuts it down. Now what happened to me is I was troubleshooting this, and ended up, it did throw a code, so you want to check your codes as well. If you have an OBD2 tester, the engine light, if you're troubleshooting this, isn't going to come on automatically, but there might be some codes in there, so you want to check that for codes. And I came up with a couple codes. I still wasn't getting the compressor to run, so I ended up taking off the negative battery cable for about 15 minutes, and when I put it back on, suddenly it started working again. So there was some kind of lockout going on with the computer where it didn't trust it. So even doing the wire jumping on the low pressure side like I showed you didn't work. So it was totally empty. Now, in order to check for leaks, you're going to have to obviously have some pressure in there. Now, some people use nitrogen, some will take some compressed air and just give it a little pressure in there. If you do any of that, you're going to have to recharge the entire system. You're going to have to buy a vacuum pump, which I don't know, is maybe about $100. And what that'll do is boil off any moisture that you have in the system, because you don't want any moisture in the system, and you certainly don't want air in there. So you'd have to get a vacuum pump. A basic check you can do if you have pressure and you just lost some of your refrigerant and it's not totally empty is you can remove these caps And some cars you might see a red cap and a blue cap, the red meaning high, blue meaning low. You might see a L on this plastic cap, you might see an H, but typically you'll know which one's the high side and which one's the low side, because the low side is going to have a wider diameter tube and the high side is a smaller one. Okay, so the temperature is close to 80 as I mentioned earlier, and you can see I have this on my low pressure side, the blue. That's really all I'm using, and obviously if you were empty this would read 0. So this is a very important gauge to have. Like I said, it's not that expensive and it's worth having. I'm at about 80. That's normal because it's going to match typically the ambient temperature. So if you're in your garage and it's 80 in the garage, that's pretty much what it's going to be. Don't look at the weather channel and it says it's 70, because it might be hotter in your garage. So it's the ambient temperature. So now I'm going to start the vehicle and you're going to see this change. We're going to start it. I'll show you the operation of a normal clutch. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle now, and I'm going to press my AC. I'm going to make sure the setting is cold, and I'm going to put it on high. Okay, so you saw the temperature is about 42 degrees coming out of the vents. That's nice. I'm happy with that. I gave you just some basic things to look at to troubleshoot your system. You know, if you don't feel like doing it or you feel nervous about doing it, you can certainly take it to someone. But if you want to save some money, just at least you can learn these basic skills, so that if you do take it and they try to say, well, your compressor clutch is shot or your compressor is shot, you could tell them no, I saw it, the clutch is engaging, and you've already done those troubleshooting steps beforehand. If you have a little bit of pressure in the system, you can take like the soap in the spray bottle and spray these Schrader valves here. Spray them and you'll see the bubbling come out, so you have to replace the Schrader valve. Now they do sell tools that you can use to replace the Schrader valve without removing the pressure from the system, but you have to make sure that that's compatible with the Schrader valve that you have in your vehicle, because I've seen videos where people have tried to use it and it's a handy tool, but it doesn't fit the Schrader valve, so it won't allow them to remove it. So that's just one thing to look at. So I hope you appreciated the video. If you like it, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate the support. You can send a super thanks, a donation. Just look for super thanks on the channel and you can donate how much you want. It could be $5-10. Also, I noticed that a large percentage of people who are watching the videos aren't subscribing, but they're still watching the videos. So if you would, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.